Hi! Welcome to Sunless Sea. We're going to get the Boke of Sharps, a legacy item. You're going to need to go to the Cumaean Canal. For this you're going to need 22 fuel and 2 supplies, and probably you also want to take as many dark drop coffee beans as you can possibly carry. Best place to pick these up, because it's nearby, is Port Carnelian. Those two things will always be in the same place. By two things I mean the Cumaean Canal and Port Carnelian. Head to the shops to the Sapphire Exchange and pick them up for 38. If you buy them in London they're going to be 50. That's a little more expensive, and you can over double your money this way. Although you can only do it a few times. We'll have a talk about that as we go. Don't forget to grab a port report before you head off. And if you've got some news you can exchange it for lovely things. Then head to Naples. Occasionally you might lose a crew member there, and then buy a train ticket to Vienna, where revolution is in the air. Now you can deliver coffee to the Cafe Firstel. It's unlocked the first time with 1 sack of dark drop coffee beans. There we go. But once you've done it once, you can sell as many as you like. Although, each time you do it, you'll gain a number between 1 and 5 for each thing that you sell. And when you've hit 300 in total, you can't sell anymore. So you're able to sell anything between 60 and 300. Anyway, do this a favour for the agitator. After you've done it once, well, you get supplies for work. After you've done it once, it will say another favour for the agitator. Then head back to Naples. While you're here, there's some bits and pieces you can do. You can purchase supplies. They're cheap here, only 5 echoes. They're the cheapest that you can get them anywhere. And you can actually make money back if you can be bothered clicking one by one by going down to the Iron Republic and selling them for 25, or Gator's Morn and selling them for, I think, 15 or 20. You can also carry cargo around the Mediterranean, but there's a very high chance you're going to lose a lot of crew. Yeah, which kind of sucks. So I wouldn't recommend doing it. You can also share news and you'll get an intriguing snippet and some supplies and fuel back. So always pick up some news when you head back to London. If you are fortunate, you'll see 500 echoes. I mean, it's not a terrible way to do things, but for losing 10 fuel, it's kind of borderline whether or not you actually make a profit by the time you've had to buy everything back. And it's certainly not profitable if you are unfortunate. Anyway, return to Avernus when you've done, and you'll find you've got practically 0 terror, and then return below. You'll need 10 fuel and 1 supply, but you should have that anyway, unless you've blown it on other things. But you can buy fuel there for 15. It was a bit buggy when I was playing. It may be fixed by now, but when I went back to the Cumaean Canal I had to quit back to the title screen because it didn't actually return to the Undersea. Anyway, head to Fallen London and deliver supplies for the work. You'll get 10 fuel, 5 supplies. You'll gain 1 Favours Calendar's Council and 1 Supremacy the Anarchists, and lose 1 supplies for work and get a crate of human souls. Now, if you've done the stuff with the Deviless in Mount Palmerston, you can go to the Brass Embassy and sell the souls for 63 echoes. Otherwise you can sell them in the Wolfstack Exchange for 60. So it's only a difference of 3 echoes. You might want to keep 1. They're used in a few places. It's not a terrible idea to have them, to keep 1. But after that, back to the Cumaean Canal. Make sure you've got 22 fuel. Pick it up in London because it's cheaper there, or the Iron Republic where it's even cheaper at 8. And then head back to Vienna. I'm not going to muck around this time, but first to Naples. See, this time I lost a crew member. There we are, which sucks, so make sure you've got plenty of crew. Then head to Vienna, sell the coffee, and pick up another favour for the agitator. There we are. Now the idea is, it's as simple as just doing this 7 times. Back to Naples, there we are. Back to Avernus, and back to the surface. Then off to London, where you'll get another 10 fuel, 5 supplies, and your Supremacy the Anarchists will knock up again. You'll get a crate of human souls. Fill up on coffee and head back again. There we are. And then, yeah, see, coffee's still going. Grab another favour for the agitator. I've skipped the first few that I did just because I really didn't think you needed to see this. Back to Naples, back to Avernus, back to London, deliver supplies for the work, same again. I mean, literally nothing changes, it's the same every time, but it's not a bad way to double your money early on. Once you've got like 1,000, you'll probably have enough to buy 20 or 30 coffees each time. There we are. Now, you see, once you hit that magic 300 number, he'll shut down and you can no longer sell coffee, which is a shame. But the advantage is you can always sell your entire last load as long as he's available. Anyway, deliver supplies for the work, and you'll notice the dark spectacled admiral on the right disappears. Fear has a cloak of trailing mist. Fear whispers your name. The Calendar Council, that master cell of anarchists, is on the rise, and they have you to thank for it. You'll also lose all your Admiralty Commission things, because there is no more Admiralty, and you'll lose access to the Diplomat if you've unlocked that. Unclear devices obscure you for view from 5 seconds. They remove all illumination from both sides in combat and increase terror. Not that useful, but also not terrible. Like, may as well hang on to them and use them. And you'll see here, no Admiral anymore. So if you do this, you're probably going to want to retire shortly afterwards, or if you do it, it wants to be the last thing you do before you retire or finish up the game. But there's your Boke of Sharps. This barely qualifies as a book. Dozens of scraps of paper have been crammed into a scuffed folio. Each bears helpful advice on murder, and often a stain. Anyway, once you've retired or died or whatever, you'll see the Boke of Sharps is there. That increases your starting iron by 25. I've got a Scion, so I can pick two Legacies. And I had a pretty high iron score, you may have noticed, so I carried over an extra 25, which means I've got 75. Now, you want to be careful here, because if your scores are over 50, like this, you won't actually gain a benefit from choosing a background that increases those stats. So, don't. In this case, I mean, the smart one to pick is almost always Pages anyway, just because that's the hardest to raise. Actually, in game there are no officers that do it, but there is the Boke of Sharps. That will be with you for the rest of your career, or at least the rest of that dynasty. So as long as you don't start a new game and it's just captains dying, you'll always start with 50 iron, so that's nice. Anyway, on the left, the Brisk Campaigner and the turning her into the Indomitable Campaigner. On the right, Maybe's Daughter, who you can promote to Maybe's Rival or Nobody's Daughter. 2 options there. Anyway, that's it for now. I will see you in the next video. Let me know if there's stuff you want to see next. Do, of course, let me know in the comments. Check the playlist for everything. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!